Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're watching Greenwave TV, alternative media television. It is Monday, November 28, 2011, and we had extremely important, critical commentary out of the mouth of our president here in the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, talking about the rule of law, talking about the fact that the United States and Europe is dependent on the rule of law.
The incredible transformations that have been taking place throughout North Africa and the Middle East. What hasn't changed, though, is the fundamental bonds that exist between the European Union and the United States. Our common values, our common belief in the rule of law, in democracy, in freedom.
First of all, there is no rule of law. That's the problem. Rule of law assumes that there will be punishment for wrongdoings in a society, which prevents people, you and I, from breaking the law. Because we know that if we break the law, then we will be punished. We will be sent to jail. And not only that, most of us have a moral conscience preventing us, telling us right from wrong, and preventing us from implementing things that might be evil, that might be mistreatment of another, or mistreatment of a group of people, or an institution. It is what keeps the control and keeps the lid on a society. You see, we don't have that in America anymore. We don't have that in Europe. We don't have any kind of rule of law. We have complete and utter anarchy. Let me explain. You're telling me that the largest financial institutions in the world that run the global economy destroyed and imploded their firms over the past couple of years. And then after bankrupting themselves, bankrupting their respective shareholders, bankrupting those respective 401ks and pensions and IRAs, sending millions and millions of people around the world into poverty, and transferring trillions of dollars worth of wealth back into their pockets to be rewarded for that with bailouts, with, a multitude and infinity round of bailout measures, which is what our leaders are meeting and talking about today. It's like, cut round number 456, cut round number 1522. I mean, it's a multitude of bailouts. What could these people be possibly thinking? And so people around the world are waking up to the fact that there is no rule of law. And this is what Obama's talking about, because you see, global leadership knows that the people know it. They know it, and we know it. It's exactly why Britain's issuing statements warning about the coming riots in the Eurozone, asking its expats to, peacefully come home and disengage from the Eurozone region right now, because they know this is inevitably coming. And that's precisely the point. There is no rule of law. All we have today is anarchy. Obama also talks about the common belief in democracy and freedom. Two things that we do not have anymore. If we truly had democracy in this country, if we truly had the ability to vote with our mouths and vote with our wallets, then we would have prosecuted and jailed all these criminals that caused the collapse in the first place. But instead, they intend and have every intention of maintaining their control, which is why they're backdooring legislation right now to censor the internet, to control the freedom of press and the freedom of speech, because they are trying to contain and plan for the containment. This is called a police state. Plan for that containment when things inevitably erupt. When we hit the boiling point and we get that, trigger, we get that catalyst that sparks, the match, the ignition of the match. You see, the gasoline's already been poured. That's the debt crisis. But the minute the match gets lit and is thrown, and the gasoline ignites itself, we've got a fire. We've got a full-blown raging fire, raging through Europe and raging through the United States. We're just waiting for Greece, Portugal, Spain, Italy to quietly say, hey, we're making an exit out of the euro. We're going back to the drachma. And boom! Major flames, major fire, major collapse, major civil unrest, major catastrophe, complete civil disobedience, complete anarchy. This is the stuff we're starting to see already in Egypt with 50-plus people dead. We've seen this all over the world. This is what's coming. This is what they're trying to contain. He also explicitly says that the U.S. is ready to help Europe resolve the debt crisis. Read between the lines. Resolve the debt crisis. What does Obama mean by this? How is the United States going to help to resolve the debt crisis? You see, what they're planning, what they're really talking about behind the scenes, is how to implement the New World Order that is inevitably coming here to the United States of America and planet Earth. This is what they're talking about. So helping the debt crisis, once it explodes, once that match is lit, is by offering what they've planned all along, by offering the solution of the New World Order, by offering the solution of global integration, by offering the solution of a one world currency. This is what they've planned all along, and this is what we need to point out to millions of people. They need to understand this has been planned. This is intelligent design. Behind the scenes, and with Obama's own words, if you read between the lines, they're telling you right now, to your faces, what they plan on implementing in the very near future. We are on the brink of utter chaos, and it's important that we understand this. He also mentions that this is very important in order to, keep our economies going, to keep the economy afloat, to create jobs. Read between the lines again, and you'll get the truth. The truth is, this has nothing about creating jobs. This has nothing about stimulating the economy, saving you or me, saving small or medium-sized business. Has nothing to do with that. It is only to do with maintaining their control. That is what they're concerned about. They're concerned about maintaining their control over the serfs, over the peasants, over the groundlings, which is exactly why they're planning and they're controlling the demolition in Europe and the United States of America. Obama also clearly points out that he hopes that Iran maintains its control of its nuclear capabilities, and he hopes that, Iran doesn't pose a threat to the international community.
With regard to security cooperation, we agreed to make sure that we continue to place pressure on the Iranian regime to stand down when it comes to the development of nuclear weapons, emphasizing that we continue to hope for a diplomatic resolution that allows them to use peaceful nuclear energy in a way that's consistent with their international obligations.
This is telling you straight up, straight to your face, that they are planning an attack on Iran, Syria, and they're planning on an escalation and an acceleration of these wars overseas. This is World War III. Just like we had World War I, just like we had World War II, this is World War III. And what Obama ends with is the threat of fear. Remember, fear equals control. It's one of the greatest human motivators. And so he's careful to re-emphasize to the American people and the people around the world. He mentions terrorism. He mentions the safety of passengers on planes traveling around the world, because again, it's all about fear. They tell you what you're going to do, you read between the lines, you see the collapse coming, you see the riots coming, you see the war coming, you see the acceleration of all these events we've been talking about on Green Wave TV for over the past several years, and then he scares you. He throws out the fear card, he throws out the threat of terrorism, he throws out the threat of an attack, he throws out the threat of a false flag.
Meanwhile, with respect to aviation security, the EU has been extraordinarily cooperative, and in particular, thanks to the leadership of President Barroso and President Van Rompuy, we've been able to make progress in exchanging intelligence information that can keep our passengers safe and assure that we are preventing any kind of terrorist activity from taking place.
This is the reality, folks. This is what's coming to America. This is what's coming to Europe. This is what's coming to the planet. This is what is coming to the people of the world. This is tyranny. This is oppression. This is fraud. This is corruption. There is no rule of law. There is no control anymore. The people are waking up. It is why it is up to us, the people of the world, to enforce rule of law, to enforce a moral standard, to enforce the prosecution of these criminals, to jail these people, to take our respective countries back, and to enforce reality, to enforce and stand for something bigger than ourselves, something collectively, something that stands for just goodness, something that stands for righteousness. This is what the movement should be about. This is what OWS should be about. This is what it's about. This is what's coming to the world. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television, and I just delivered the Daily Wave. Hard-hitting and in your face, America.